has what it takes and the proper tools to actually regain that support?
The good thing about politics also it is dynamic. You can make new allies, you can make new friends, you can mend fences. It is possible because we still have 3 years. And I think knowing him, I think he has the capacity and the instruments to do that.
Mm-hmm. Yet listening to the president during his Mashujaa Day speech, and it was very intentional, he said, the heroes of our independence did not come from a single village. Anyone who understands that kind of language would know. And him consequently leaving out a particular region from his list of heroes that he mentioned, clearly pointed out the region that he seemed to push away. That, in your assessment, was that the right move for the president, really? Was it necessary?
That was a political suicide. That one. You see, in Kino, Mount Kenya, at your own peril. You can say whatever you want to say. You can take your pen and calculator and paper and say, in Nyanza, I have these forts, in Western, I have this, in Central, I have this. I'll get a few from Mukambani, I'll get a few from there. Then you see you have 10, 20, 30. Do that. But in reality, it's a different ball game. Ask him. Mm-hmm. Maybe what he anticipated to get is not what he got. Maybe he was surprised even in some polling stations because he expected to get 500 and he went there and he got 2 or even 30. Mm-hmm. It happens like that. All right? So, such a statement coming from a head of state and directly affecting or targeting a region, which is, I would say, we vote almost 14 million or 15. And that region has a quarter of what we vote. All the votes we cast, that region has a quarter. Mm-hmm. The 2 quarter is with other Kenyans. Because if they vote 3, 4, 5 million, and we have voted 14, what does that tell you? Mm-hmm. That is not a region to ignore or to make some such statements. If our, and I'm not speaking from a point of being a presidential advisor, but if I was advisor, I would advise him. This is, if you don't like them, you don't want them, you better even keep quiet, mm-hmm. not to talk about or to make any utterances which will make them feel or see as if you are targeting them in one way or the other. Every Kenyan knows very well that the freedom fighters, mainly, we know, even us, we know we have Mwingi, we had so many, but we don't brag about them. We give respect to those who started the journey, right? We know them, and they are known, and they are in our history books, even if some of us maybe were not born, mm-hmm. but we know them. And to come today on a national, when we're celebrating now that freedom, and you say that this thing was brought by this, and you guys are making a lot of noise, you are not part of it. To me, I think it was uncalled for, and the president should apologize to people of Mount Kenya over that statement so that he can start, in politics, there's no shame. Mm-hmm. If there's anybody who abused Ruto, it's one Hassan Joho. If there's anybody who abused Ruto, it's Opiyo Wandayi. I remember fighting in parliament with Opiyo. Those who were of the government, and by then Ruto was in that government of Uhuru Kenyatta, and those who were opposing. And I remember Opiyo being chased away from parliament because he was out of order, right? Mm-hmm. And he was fighting the same government of Ruto. And so if there are people who spoke bad words against Ruto, are people from ODM. But where are they today? In his government. Likewise, let him come down and see how he can approach Mount Kenya. Let him see how he can approach Ukambani, because he has neglected those areas completely. He has neglected. He don't want to hear about them. But what I want to tell him, Mount Kenya with 5 million votes and Ukambani 1, that is 6. That is 6. So when you go on, Mark said, you need to understand there's somebody with the 6 million here. And that person is hiding some leftovers in your Rift Valley, is hiding some leftovers in Nyanza. Because there are leftovers in Nyanza, there are leftovers in Western, there are leftovers in the coast, there are leftovers everywhere. That person, he has 6 or 7 million and he's going to look for the leftovers. Mm-hmm. So don't sit pretty and ignoring those regions. So to answer your question, those remarks were uncalled for, and the president could not have done that. I am very much disturbed when I hear that you want to tell Kidigi, do this. Yeah, maybe. And we've been there with other regimes, with other ministers in interior, with the other PSs in interior. And the people used to, members of parliament used to go to those offices, and they promised we can do this, but never happened. And this region called Kikuyu, I told you, I know it very well. They are my in-law. That is where my beautiful, loving wife comes from. I know how they behave. And at this moment, going by what Madugu has alluded to, what you saw, that was just the beginning of things to come. And I'm telling you, if I were Kalonzo, that was gear number 1. I could have engaged now the 4-wheel for that mountain, and I turn it upside down, because politics is all about perception.
Yes.
And if people see that you have the numbers behind you, even those of Maduku may start thinking, could this man be the next president? Let me align myself.
Looking at it from the direction of ODM, it might